It's a pleasure to introduce someone who's no stranger to anyone here. She represents a district consisting of the Bronx and Westchester, our resident expert on healthcare issues and so much more, Senator Ruth Hassel-Thompson.
Thank you. I know the question is, why is Westchester here? Well, you heard Senator Adams say that we are one New York. And in order to be one New York, every part of this state must be well represented. And so I have come as the representative from Westchester and the Bronx to say that in Marty Connor we have an extraordinary human being to start with. And I'll tell you, that's a rare commodity when it comes to politics. He is a person of his word. He is a person of the position that he takes. He stands behind what he says he will do. And that is a rarity in this business. People think that when there's a hue and cry, there's a knee jerk. Marty is a thinker. Marty steps back from the issue with us and says, well, wait a minute. Let's look at it from its historical perspective, but let's look at it in terms of what does it mean as we go forward into the future. He has an institutional knowledge of government. He certainly has an institutional knowledge of the state Senate. When I first came to the Senate, Marty was in leadership, and he gave me an orientation that I will never forget, and it set the tone for where all new senators would be oriented as they come into government. We talk about change, and change is very important. Well, the change that we want is to see more inclusion in the state of New York, which is why we're pressing hard as Democrats to become the majority in November. We're not going to be able to do it successfully without sage and wisdom. In Marty Connor, we have that. We don't need to look over our shoulder to figure out who's with us as we pursue the difficult issues. We need to know where people stand on issues. We don't need people who waffle and who are temperamental in terms of what they stand for. We know what Marty stands for. You've heard it from each of his colleagues from Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens. But you're hearing it from Westchester and Bronx. We can trust that what he says is what he'll do. And that, for the people of the state of New York, becomes a very, very important issue as we face a $5 billion deficit in terms of how do we make sure that the cuts that we make and that the positions that we take are in the broad best interest of the people of the state of New York. I want Marty Connor to continue to be at our side as we pursue not only winning the majority, but changing the whole face of how New York is served and how every aspect of this state is represented at that table. I need Marty Connor to be there with me. I hope that you will help us to make that happen. Thank you. Thank you.
I think Marty heard his colleagues loud and clear. We need Marty Connor's intelligence. We need his experience. And we need him for his institutional knowledge when we take the majority. Also, I think the residents of his Senate district need him. So let's give the Senate district and all of us the person we stood here in this very, very hot day. Let's introduce our next state senator, our re-elected state senator, the great Senator Marty Connor.
I want to thank all of my colleagues for standing here in the hot sun with me. We have all stood together in Albany on some darker days, or shadier days, shadowier days, I should say. And now we all look forward to being in the sunlight of majority next January. And working together, we will bring change to New York. Change doesn't mean necessarily new people. It means the right people with a commitment to effectuate progressive policies that have been frustrated by a Republican majority for these many decades. And we all aim to do that and do that together. I am delighted, I am humbled, frankly, by the support of my colleagues. No one said, Marty's a good guy, we need him back. I hope they think I'm a good guy. But that's not where our conference... Yeah, well, that was a nice guy. But that's not where our conference comes from, and that's not my kind of politics. It's issue-driven, it's committed to progressive ideas, not lip service, getting it done with the support of my colleagues, the support of my many, many constituents. I'm confident I will be re-elected in the primary and elected as part of the majority that takes office in January. Thank you all.
Yes.